Are you struggling to get those hits to go where you want? Are you looking to find out how you can shoot a pistol more accurately and what might affect the accuracy of your shooting? Well, hang out, because I'm going to give you 7 tips to improve your accuracy. Listen, if you don't have a solid foundation, you're not going to have the stability necessary to make good hits. Without a proper stance, it's going to be more difficult to manage recoil and the effect it has on your body. If you're constantly feeling like you're being pushed backwards, stance is likely the reason. So what is a proper stance? Start with your feet about shoulder width apart. Now don't go crazy here. This should feel like a natural spacing of your feet. You don't want your stance too narrow, but you also don't want it too wide. And don't lock your knees. Your knees are your shock absorbers, and they help absorb and disperse the force of recoil. You don't want to bend them, but think about slightly dropping your center of gravity only a couple of inches right into your knees and feet. This will help give you a sturdy foundation and help you remain centered and feel less like you're being pushed backwards. Having a strong stance allows you to shoot accurately faster. While a good stance is important, a proper grip is probably more important. There's a lot of ways people will argue are acceptable to hold a firearm, probably even arguing it's just as good. But honestly, they're not. Without a proper grip, you're going to have a difficult time getting your sights to consistently return to your point of aim, which is going to result in less accurate follow-up shots, which from a self-defense standpoint, accurate follow-up shots are important. As your slide reciprocates, that rearward energy is stopped by your hand on the pistol. This causes your muzzle to rise until your slide completes its cycle, returns to battery, and the muzzle drops back down. To form a strong grip, you have to start with a nice high grip on the pistol. You want to get your hand as high up on the back under the beaver tail as you can. With your support hand, you want to fill up as much of this gap as possible. The goal is to have as much contact with the surface of the firearm as you can to give you the most control. Think about your two palms coming together. The easiest way I've found to explain this is start by putting your support hand straight out and then point your fingers towards the ground. Move your support hand towards the pistol and let those palms meet up, keeping your thumbs forward. Place the thumb of your primary hand over your support hand thumb. Don't cross them. Then wrap your fingers all the way around. Your grip should be as strong as a confident handshake. Too tight and you'll start shaking and your sights will be dancing all over the place. Too loose and it won't do you any good. Just get a strong, good, firm grip. If you don't understand sight alignment, you're not going to make good hits regardless of how good your stance or your grip is. There's a lot of different sights out there you can choose from, but most common are going to be the traditional 3-dot iron sights. To make things more complicated, there's 2 different styles of aiming with iron sights, and you'll probably recognize which one you are. The first is target focus. Think of this as more of a defensive style of shooting. You're focused on the threat or the target in this case, and your sights are maybe a touch out of focus in your sight picture, but you're not looking and focusing on your front sights. Then there's front sight focus. This means the front sight is crisp and in focus in your view, and your target is slightly blurred in the background. This is much better for precision shooting than target focus because you have a clear image of your sights, allowing you to line them up better with your target. Regardless of your style of aiming, target focused or front sight focused, you still have to line them up properly. A good sight picture with 3-dot sights start with your dots being lined up and having an equal space to the left and to the right of the front sight post. This helps to ensure your front sight is centered to allow you to hit what you're pointing at. Stance, grip, sight alignment won't matter if you don't have a good trigger press. So let's talk about what makes a good trigger press and how you can improve your trigger press at home. A quality trigger press starts with quality finger placement. So where should you put your finger on the trigger? Right in the middle of the last pad on your trigger finger, like this. This will do the most to assist you in a consistent rearward press on the trigger. This will help you maintain your sight picture on target and help reduce the chance of your sights being moved off target one way or another during your shooting sequence. Some other things to avoid or keep in mind while on the range: don't slap the trigger. You should have a nice, smooth, even pull from start to finish. Slapping your trigger can result in the pistol jerking around in your hand, causing your shots to be low or just all over the place. Something most people probably don't consider is their breathing while on the range. Breathing can affect you in a couple of different ways. For starters, it prevents you from running out of breath and feeling fatigued. But think about it. Are you really capable of being that steady when your body's running out of oxygen and your heart rate begins to increase? So make sure you're breathing while you're on the range. And do you know that timing your shots between breaths can also improve your accuracy? Shooting between breaths during that little pause after you exhale helps steady your body movement. When you're in a situation where accuracy is important, reducing the movement of your sights on target is essential to making good hits, especially you long distance shooters. So we did all that and you pulled the trigger, your gun went bang, so now what? Follow through after your shot. Don't get into the habit of pulling your gun down after every shot to confirm your hits. You can see your hits with the gun up, I promise. Keep your gun up, sights on target, and think about resetting your trigger, confirming your grip, confirming your sights, and then repeating your trigger pull. This is going to help you build consistency with all the other topics we covered earlier. Mentally preparing for your next shot keeps those fundamentals front and center in your brain so that you're constantly putting those into action during each shot. So let's talk about your mindset while on the range. Something I'll always recommend is going to the range with a learning mindset. Try having some goals in mind. Maybe it's something you want to improve on, maybe it's completing a shooting challenge, or maybe it's just finding a way to do better better than you did the last time you went out. Stay calm and stay focused on the goal, which is improving your skill set. Getting frustrated is just going to cause you to shoot worse, and then you're really not going to have a good time. For more upgrades and enhancements, check out the Tyrant CNC website for a full list of parts and upgrades, as well as additional content to help you make the best decisions. They also have videos and tutorials on how to add those upgrades to your firearm.